Just really quickly, so Chris Nowinski.
Chris Nowinski, he was another contestant or a runner-up on season 1 of Tough Enough, where Nowinski is most well known for. Well, first of all, his Harvard gimmick, that's a shoot. He generally graduated from Harvard University. That's why he's got this Harvard University graduate persona. He only wrestled in the WWE for, I want to say, a couple of years. He then had to retire early because of a concussion when he ended the Royal Rumble and he took a double drop kick from Rey Mysterio and Edge. And I want to say they mistimed it and Edge landed on Chris Nowinski's face and gave him a really bad concussion. So he ended up leaving because of this concussion. And then years later, he ended up becoming basically, he got like a PhD in behavioral neuroscience and became like a concussion expert. I think especially after the whole Chris Benoit stuff happened. He wrote a book called Head Games, which is basically about concussions in football. He got loads of media attention. I think he was kind of outspoken out against the WWE at the time as well. He would go on a lot of these shows and talk about sort of the severity of concussions and everything else. And he's still doing it to this day, to the point where he is actually quite often used for seminars for wrestling companies. I actually attended one of them. Ring of Honor brought him in once, quite a few hours before the show, to all do a seminar with Chris Nowinski, which was about concussions and basically, talking about, because for so long, no one really knew, people knew what concussions were, but didn't realize how dangerous they were, how no one really knew about anything like CTE, which is very evident from all the unprotected chair shots that we've seen even in week 2 of this show. So Nowinski's done a really good job of raising awareness about concussions, how dangerous they can be. I remember in this seminar, he would do a lot of talking and he would show different clips, and he would show a clip of, oh, this is Taz hitting someone in the head with a chair. Like, this is a concussion, showing us the different signs. If someone's had a concussion, basically telling us, obviously, if something like this happens, you need to stop there and then, because if you do more damage to it or you get rocked again, it's really, really dangerous. So Chris Nowinski's legacy in the wrestling business, I think, would be that he's tried to leave it as a better place with all this awareness for concussions. So Chris Nowinski,
he's done that as well.
Hell of a guy. Yeah, I think he really has. And I think he's implemented a lot of different rules now with wrestling companies where if people are concussed, they take it very seriously rather than, oh, toughen up and see it through.
Yeah,
which is the old attitude.
Yeah, well, I just said, oh, quickly, just tell me about the Chris. I didn't know he had that much of an arc and that much of a legacy. So that's awesome. I didn't know any of that.
Absolutely.
So it sounds like his real world education and his incident that he had, it all just, so he's got the experience and the education, and he seems like he's just like the exact person to do the role that he's doing now. So it has a really, I guess, happy ending to it, really good ending. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm reading here. It says that he founded the Concussion Legacy Foundation. I did it again.
You've done it again. That's twice now.
Everything is federation. I've got WWF on the brain. So he founded the Concussion Legacy Foundation, the CLF. And basically it's to do medical research on sort of brain trauma in sports, because he believes that concussions have become a public health crisis. So yeah, Chris Nowinski, hell of a guy. I got to meet him, seemed like a really nice guy, and obviously wants the working conditions for wrestlers to be better. And obviously we've seen a lot of stuff happen in wrestling over the years and years, and a lot of wrestlers dying young and a lot of wrestlers having issues with concussions. And it's sad, and having a concussion is not fun. I've been very fortunate in my career, touch wood. I think I've only had 1, maybe 2 concussions, and they're not fun at all. And I would say, for the most part, my style of wrestling is a quite safe style. I don't do these hardcore matches. I'm not doing high flying, all that kind of stuff. That being said, wrestling is never safe. It's a dangerous sport. You know what it is when you get into it. But when I see what some of the guys do, and especially back here with the unprotected chair shots and everything else to the head, and some of the bumps that guys take now, I'm just like, what are you doing?
Please,
I got the same reaction, or I get the same reaction breaking someone's finger well, I'm not going to say that I don't actually break it, but doing something so simple like that, it gets an amazing reaction. You can do stuff like that. You don't need to, I don't know, do a Canadian destroyer from the top rope to the floor. You don't need to bash a guy's brains in with a steel chair or any of this stuff. I think, okay, I get there's a time and place for that stuff, but knowing what we know about concussions now, that is something that I wouldn't wish upon anyone. So I just think
doesn't seem like a worthy trade-off.
It doesn't. And the risks that people take. And I feel like now it's even worse because everyone's so desperate we're in this kind of social media era where people want to be in GIFs or they want to be on a reel or be tweeted, whatever it is. So they're doing these crazy stunts, these big moves just to kind of get that attraction. And it works. People do something crazy and it will go all over the internet. But at the same time, to me, maybe I'm just a coward, but I don't think it's worth it. I
don't think it's worth it at all. No. And and thanks, Chris. We like Chris.
I'm sure he's watching.